Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel where I make videos documenting my exposure and response prevention and my thought records that I use to treat my choking phobia. My choking phobia is basically a fear I have of choking on food. So I'm going to document how one would kind of break free from these anxious thoughts. First thing you want to do is give a number to the anxiety level you have. So on a scale of 1 to 100, specifically for the anxiety you're trying to treat, which in this case would be choking phobia, you wanna, sorry, I see some writing instrument. You wanna write what you feel, not for like social anxiety, but for your specific thing you're doing right now to treat, which is choking phobia. If you have social anxiety, do the same thing with social anxiety. Watch your anxiety before you go out in a social situation like a mall, and your anxiety level after you've stayed in the mall for, let's say, an hour, or if that's too long, 30 minutes, if that's too long, 15 minutes. Keep it at some sort of level that would cause some sort of distress. Then you'll see the anxiety level after will be lower for the most part. So let's, and it's good to write your thoughts down as well while you're doing this, and that's called a thought record. So, first thing you want to do is write down your anxiety level before. So I'm eating Pizza Hut, anxiety level before, say 10. Yeah, it's like 5. Sorry, just trying to keep up here. Next thing you want to do is do the anxiety-provoking behavior. In this case, eating food. And staying with the anxiety for as long as you can. I know with choking anxiety, it must be very difficult to deal with. The thing I recommend is starting with softer foods, muffins or cheese, and working your way up to, hard-boiled eggs, something like that. And working your way up to harder and harder foods, more difficult foods. Baby steps, basically. Oh wow, this video's been going on for longer than I've expected. Yeah. I'm gonna have one more bite, and then I'm gonna rate my anxiety on a scale of 1 to 100. Then I'll go in my car, and I'll talk about the thoughts, what I've been writing down. Okay. So, yeah, just, yeah. I'm gonna eat this now. Crap, I hate doing this. I'm gonna have one more bite to, really hone down my anxiety level. I was just too busy trying not to, not like eating it, because it's kind of doughy. I'll get to that in a second. I'm gonna try just eating one more bite, just to be kind of mindful. Where's my anxiety level at? I'm using confusing terms here, but where's my anxiety level at post-swallow and pre-swallow? Before I swallow the food, it's in my mouth, and then after I swallow the food, it's gone down my esophagus into my stomach. That's a very hard thing to narrow down, but that's the key part of anxiety. Differentiating it from other anxieties that you have, and just being mindful enough to recognize what is happening to your body. I'm just gonna eat this last bite. My anxiety level went down to 0. I just see no point in warming this up tomorrow, right? So I'm just gonna eat this now. Okay, guys, let's go to my car. I'll talk about my thoughts now. Also enjoy a cigarette and some cannabis. Basically, this is going to be a long video because my thoughts, I've gone on for about 3 pages. I wrote a lot today. Usually my thoughts are, so if I can read my handwriting, it'll be a long video. If I can't read my handwriting, all bets are off. Just excuse me for one moment, or whatever, I'll just... Basically, yeah, I wrote a lot today. Usually I don't write three pages. Usually I write 1, at most 1.5. So, I got a lot to think about. Dissect, analyze, call out, kind of deal with the hidden issues underlying a lot of these thoughts. Okay. Sorry, bear with me. If you guys have been watching videos, you know the drill. I go upstairs. I open the garage, get in my car, turn the car on, have a cigarette. I just go through my thoughts sequentially because I was writing my thoughts down sequentially. I was writing them down one at a time as they were happening, or any images that were happening. Images are distinct from thoughts in terms of thoughts are kind of like, cognitions, like you're thinking about something. Images are more just like flashes that come to you. I think my psychologists kind of call them like your imagination, like your, you call it like pure imagination. So I don't know exactly what they are. There's different theories about what an image is or a flash someone has. I just take it as it is, I like to think that there's more good flashes I get than bad flashes, just like anybody has good tendencies, more good tendencies I like to think than bad. Like we're all kind of in the same boat here and we're all kind of struggling as to what's good and bad. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I'd like to believe there's more good than bad in the world. Anyway. Just a moment while I throw out my Coke bottle. So a couple things, you may not be hearing me correctly because of the air conditioning, okay? I apologize, but it gets hot sometimes. I'm not gonna just turn the air conditioning off just so you can hear me normally. You know how my voice sounds? Just imagine it sounds like that. This isn't even that annoying. It's a little bit annoying, but I'm assuming it's not that big of a deal. Like, that's just what I'm assuming. No, I'm just checking because it's elections here in Canada, and I asked for a Liberal sign, and they never gave me one, so I'm just wondering, just put something in the mail. Okay. Because my neighbor has the Lisa Ray sign. As a conservative, I'm more of a Liberal. Actually, I'm more NDP, but I know they're never going to get really elected. You got Jack Layton. Oh, Jack Layton was, he was a really good Canadian politician. He really helped the NDP. Unfortunately, I think he had cancer and he passed on. And there was no one really who could kind of like capitalize on his momentum because he was just so cool. Okay, he had connections in the Toronto downtown area. I think through his wife. His wife was like a big ward chancellor down there or whatever. She had a lot of community members who were helping her out. And actually they won a lot of seats, I remember, NDP. And I thought, this is it. NDP are coming back. It's it's the Obama effect. Fortunately, with the death of the Jack Layton, it didn't really work out. Okay, so thoughts I'm having today. This is my ERP thoughts and images during my exposure and response mention. So obviously, just to recap, my anxiety level before out of 100 in terms of choking on food was 5 out of 100, and after it was 0. Which is, I'm considering my plateauing is getting, what is that? My plateau is getting like smaller, lower. It used to be before 10 I'd plateau at. So now I'm getting 5 for the first time. I think I credit it with just staying with it every day and not missing a video, except for the one day that I just don't want to make videos. But for 6 out of the 7 days, you got to work at your anxiety, and it's like a disease that you need to deal with every day. Okay, it's not. My dad's gonna kill me. I just burnt the car with a cigarette. You guys can see that black stuff? That's me screwing up. But alas, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to make videos. So the first thought sequentially was rape. Okay? So I know it's starting off a bit heavy, but it's the first thought I had. And the next one was, what was God's purpose when I was getting raped? In terms of like, the Quranic verse came to me, you know, we did not create this world, you know, the earth and the heavens in play. So it made me think, like, you know, so it means like the verse means that we did not create the heavens and earth in vain, for vain purposes, for like fun and amusement. But we only, you know, for one purpose, which is, as God says later in the Quran, to worship Him. I did not create the humans in the unseen world except to worship Him. So I guess the question was, will these thoughts come into my mind in these Quranic verses? I was basically thinking, like, what was God's purpose? Like, you know, if you ever read Elie Wiesel's Night, there's a scene where he's watching some of the people in the Holocaust basically hanging. And one of his friends asks him, "Oh, how could they do such a thing? Why are they hanging everybody and killing them?" And he asks his friend Eli, who is I guess a survivor of the concentration camps, like, where is God? And he replied very bluntly, and it actually shocked me the first time I read it. He said, God is up on those gallows. You know, like, we witnessed the death of like all that is good and all that is moral in the Holocaust, and it kind of explains away a lot of that time period by just saying, well, God is cruel, and it ushered in an age of like atheism. So it's just me thinking too much, but that's the thoughts I was thinking about. Another thought afterwards is, am I slow? And I wrote that down as an automatic negative thought. Something I've been thinking about. I'll get into it later if I want to. I don't know if I want to though. Might be too private. Moving on. Next thought is, say something good. It's like, why not? To balance out the negative, maybe, right? Next thought is, Shaw's, let's call her person S, will protect me, right? And then the next thought was baby steps, and the next thought is, am I slow? Actually, that thought before with person S was, person S will protect me / love me. Okay? And it's kind of private, so I'm not going to really say any more about that at the moment. So my old friend comes up again. Piece of Kleenex will get in my food and I will choke on it. Right? There was some Kleenex. I was blowing my nose. I thought somebody was going to get in the cheese, and then I eat it, and I eat Kleenex and I choke. Next thought is, the more ERP you do for choking phobia, the more your throat muscles will relax. Right? And I just thought about this, like, because swallowing is an automatic neural type of brain thing. You don't tell your brain swallow. Most people that do that have an anxiety disorder or some sort of choking phobia or a swallowing difficulty problem or some sort of neurological disease. Most people who don't have those things, they unconsciously create this bolus in this mouth when they're chewing food, and then when it gets to the back of the mouth, the brain automatically sends signals, swallow. It doesn't tell you to swallow, like swallow now, but it's an automatic kind of like cycle it's programmed to do. So I was thinking, you know, because I have choking phobia, I obviously have difficulty with this, and so this thought came to me that, you know, the more I do of this ERP, of facing my fears and staying with the anxiety and being mindful, the more my throat muscles will relax, because I guess I'm kind of reprogramming my brain to kind of unconsciously tell me to get back into this cycle of, you know, swallow when there's a bolus in the back of your mouth and you're ready to swallow. So next thought is Les Brown motivation. So you guys have heard about my things about, I've talked about Jim Rohn. Another guy I stumbled upon, I heard about, was Les Brown. Les Brown is really, I like him a lot. I like his motivational speakers. He's basically a motivational speaker. He his story is actually quite how do you say that word? Like, inspiring. He was basically like put up for adoption. He was an orphan. So already, like, I love orphans because, you know, my prophet was an orphan. I have like this soft spot for orphans. And the other part was he basically had no, you know, formal education. He was considered uneducatable, you know, like retarded. The word, we don't use that word anymore, but like mentally challenged. And he became a congressman from Ohio. He just worked his butt off and became incredibly motivated to do things and change his life. And he did. And he talks about it and how he did it. So next thought is connective eaters. Oh yeah. So next thought that's related is you know those competitive eaters. The next thought after that is, how do they not choke? So you have competitive eaters, you know, like that are eating food on YouTube. They eat all this food, like KFC buckets and French fries, and, you know, like you've seen them all on YouTube, right? And then, like, how do they not choke? I don't understand. Like, these thoughts came to my mind. It's not like I'm gonna choke, but I'm scared of them. Like, I hope, I pray they don't choke, because they're competitive eaters. They're like, all right, guys, hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm gonna eat like, you know, a bucket of chicken and some mashed potatoes, some corn, and then we got like 6 biscuits and some fries. And you're thinking you're waiting for his friends to come in, but it's just him. And he's like, all right, start the clock. And he just goes boom, and he eats it all. And I'm just like, how do you not, like, one time it was actually really scaring me because there was a bone he was trying to get from his mouth, and there was chicken all in his mouth. He was like, ooh, ooh, and I didn't know if he was choking, and even the person who was like filming him was like, are you alright, or whatever. And he wasn't like, oh, you're right, but he was kind of like, you know, am I gonna have to help you? And then, like, he scared me so much. He took the bone of chicken out of his mouth and then swallowed the rest of the chicken. Ugh. I'm sorry, for someone with choking phobia, that's not something I aspire to want to do. Okay, it's not me. Yeah. Next thought is I was looking at some cheese while I was eating the pizza, and the cheese looked like Kleenex. So I was mistaking the cheese for Kleenex. That was my thought, and I actually thought the Kleenex was on my pizza, and I was gonna eat the Kleenex and then choke on the Kleenex. But then I realized after closer inspection, I looked at it a second time, and I said, oh no, it's cheese. It smells the cheese. It's fine. I'll eat it. Right? It's not choke. It's not Kleenex. It's not choke. It's not Kleenex. Next thought, Genji Cohen. Just randomly thought about Genji Cohen. She's the creator of Orange is the New Black. Show on Netflix. And I like that show a lot. I watch it a lot. Really good, really funny and sad. It really kind of reminds me of maybe Shakespeare, because it's like at the end it's kind of like sad. It's almost like a drama. It's a tragedy. I mean, it's not like everyone dies, but everyone doesn't really have happy endings at the end. At least that's what I've found. I don't really find that to be like, no one's really talking about that on the web. Like, oh, the season finale is here. It's gonna be so great. I found it great, but it was incredibly sad. Incredibly sad. If you look at some of the characters, like one of the first characters we meet in Orange is the New Black is what's her name, Morello. You find out at the end, spoiler alert, you find out at the end she has like dissociative identity disorder, and she doesn't even know why she got in prison. She has no idea. She just ended up there one day, and she's created this life with her girlfriend, and she has a boyfriend on the outside who's gonna come see her when she gets out, and she has a kid, but she doesn't have a kid. The kid died in childbirth, and she just started going back to this dissociative identity disorder thing. And it was so sad. Last thing you see of her, she's so happy in the beginning. Last thing you see of her, she's being called off to psych. They're gonna pump her up with some pills and just keep her in happy land. So sad. So sad. She's such an amazing character. I think they did that deliberately to keep it kind of like a tragedy, not obviously like a Shakespearean tragedy, but like a comedy drama, because they wanted to highlight the political points of like how broken the criminal justice system is in America, how it's not aimed towards rehabilitation, it's aimed more towards just getting it's basically a for-profit enterprise, and they don't care about the prisoners, and hence the whole plot of the riot and whatnot. Spoiler alert. Guys, if you haven't watched it by now, watch it. It's such a great show. It's on Netflix. Next thought is lesbianism. There is a lot of lesbianism in that show, and I think that's connected to the next thought, which is it pisses God off. Right? It pisses God off. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is lesbianism, watching Orange is the New Black, and all that LGBTQ stuff pisses God off. I guess that's kind of what I was getting going for there. Next thought, Sheikh speaking about using the German word for God, which is gut. A Sheikh I listen to sometimes. His name is escaping me right now, but he was talking about, he's very well read. He was talking about how we should prefer the English word God rather than the Arabic word Allah. And he was trying to really emphasize this point, especially to Muslims who don't really like engaging, I would say, with people other than their own, and they like using the Arabic terminology of Allah. He said use the word gut, which is German for God, because it kind of like, it makes more sense to me. He's saying that's not obviously Allah is the name for God, but he's saying in his research, gut is a very in terms of if you were to translate Allah into any language, German would be the best language because of how precisely gut translates to God. So that was just a random thought I had. Next, spirituality. I just wrote spirituality. There's a lot of thoughts just about my spirituality, about my standing with God, about my struggles, and what I'm going through. I didn't really get into it, but it's just because you guys want to understand it. It's kind of like personal, your relationship with God, and what you believe. But I just wrote down spirituality. So next thought, come back to the path, right? Next thought, anxious me, writing I will not choke over and over again on a blackboard. This is an odd image I was having. Basically, I was at a school or something, a room with a blackboard, and I said anxious me. Right? Anxious me, writing I will not choke over and over again on a blackboard. I think it has something to do with OCPD. OCPD thought maybe, because I was doing the exposure, I had this thought that anxious me, who was like this scared person in this room writing on this board. No one's forcing him to do it. At least I think so. I just had to write down, I will not choke over and over again, somehow to make myself feel good. And once I actually, called that thought out and let it kind of be in the air for a while, I realized it's OCPD, and it's very, very ridiculous. Like, it's a ridiculous thought. Like, but at the same time, maybe it's part of my personality. I need to kind of do this, be in kind of like this mode of structure, rules, discipline. But I know it's OCPD, so it's like, I don't know if that's a good thing. Like, OCPD has its good and bad. Like, as I said before in my earlier videos, when I was telling you guys about my OCPD, I was saying that, for example, if you're doing like actuary tables, if you work for like life insurance, or any sort of detail-oriented, like counting over and over again, any like computer programming, looking for errors in code, looking for errors in a pattern or identifying a pattern, a lot of those kind of fall under my personality. And so there's positive, but there's also negatives, because you might get hung up over like one stain on your shirt, and then you won't be able to go out until it's done. If that stain isn't clean, you know, you can't wear another shirt. You want to wear that shirt. You know, you've seen my guys freak outs on my videos sometimes, like, my routine was messed up. It just kind of messes you up too. So unless you have a routine, you stick to it. You're gonna get anxious sometimes if your routine's out of order. Next thought. Actor either choked or acted like, I don't like this image like he did. There's this YouTube video of this idiot who apparently was talking about how actors, how they pretend when they choke, how they do that, and he was showing it in a behind the scenes type of thing, and apparently he choked while he was acting. He was eating, and then he's like, you know, like this, haha, and he's like, and next thing you know, they think he's joking, but he's actually choking. For real. Apparently it's real. But then they later kind of said it was fake because they didn't want to have bad publicity towards the video, but I'm pretty sure it was real because it looked real. Like, you know, he was literally dying, and they saved him, but he looked like it really was a choking thing. And I don't like that thought. I don't like thinking about it, but it was a thought that came to me. So, God, there's a lot more here. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm just gonna say him now and just see what comes to my mind. Next thought, intervention, Jeff Vonderen. Next thought, there's nothing we will do. There's nothing we won't do. Next thought, dough is a little doughy. Next thought, little beef sauce on that. Next sauce, little beef sauce again. Next thought is little bits. Okay, next thought, I think too much. I'm thinking too much. We are all the same. Next thought, I should have ate more yesterday. Next thought, beef sauce again. Next thought, oh yeah, Trump's getting impeached. Next thought, who cares? Next thought, relax and watch the news about his impeachment. Next thought, don't say incorrect things about God. Next thought, I need to / must pray. Next thought, who cares about Star Trek? Next thought, do you? And then I wrote something here about God in parentheses with those thoughts. Next thought, the religious ones always do weird sex things. That's a negative thought. Next thought, should I eat 2 or 3 slices? Next thought, Hamza Yusuf eating. Next thought, Toronto Convention Center. Next thought, he gave shahada to a convert outside. Next thought, don't listen to Satan. Don't listen to Satan saying you're unworthy or that you will never get close to God. Next thought, homosexuality. Next thought, homo. Next thought, person F. Next thought, did they put extra cheese? Next thought, ex-boyfriend in my house eating pizza and looking at me comfortingly. Next thought, pizza is too large, basically a calzone. Next thought, why does nobody like my videos? Next thought, stay with it at least 3 times. That thought was said 3 times throughout my thought records. Next thought, just 3 times. Just it goes faster than my hands can write, basically. Next thought, it's kind of doughy. Next thought, Lola. Next thought, beef sauce 3 times. Next thought, skirt. Next thought, shock and hurt at me. Next thought, stay with it. Next thought, here you go, boss. Imagining what the pizza cook said to the delivery driver. Okay, I try to keep this video under 50 minutes with all my thoughts. Basically, a lot of them have to do with pizza and how it tasted. Some of them have to do with my trauma of people leaving me before, which I've discussed earlier because of my homosexuality. And some have to do with my spirituality. And some have to do with choking. And some have to do with religion and how, for example, people who are religious, are they hiding something? How are they so religious? Is there something wrong with them? Are religious people wired differently than non-religious? It's so fascinating. How does a religious person see the world with faith versus someone who maybe is in that same religion but is not as religious, versus someone who isn't of a different religion, versus someone who doesn't believe in God, versus someone who believes in Satan? I mean, it's very interesting. I believe it's all the same, but I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. So honestly, the video's gone on longer than I wanted to. Those are the basic thoughts I had. Remember, guys, keep your thought records, keep your journals, keep your video things, and do the exposures. Honestly, I don't do social anxiety exposures because I just don't care too much about it. This is mostly what's bothering me. Like, because it's like this in my brain. I think if I don't go out, I'm not gonna die, right? But if I don't eat, I'm gonna die. So you gotta focus on what's more important, what's more anxiety provoking to you, and work your way from there. Maybe one day I'll make a video showing my social anxiety and how I feel. But at the end of the day, I think I've gotten to that age now. I just don't give a crap about what people think. I act like I do, but I really don't. I'm like a troublemaker. I'm gonna end the video here. Okay, it's gone over way longer than I wanted it to. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like, share, comment, subscribe. And remember guys, stay with it.